and welcome to this episode of Ninja Talk. Tonight's episode title is To the Spirit World with Spirited Away. My name is Eric, one of your panelists for tonight, and I am joined by Irino,
Hey,
Mike,
What's good?
and Carl.
What up?
So without any further delay, let's get started. So overall, what did you think of the movie? Whether it's like your first time watching it or your second time, like how did you perceive the movie as a whole?
So it was my first time watching the movie, right? And at first I was like, what is the point of this movie, right? Like that first hour or so, I was kind of like trying to figure out what was the message here. But that last hour was lit. I loved the last hour of that movie. And there was definitely a lot of symbolism, I think, and a lot of metaphors. And yeah, it actually exceeded my expectations. So shout out to Drina for suggesting it. Yeah.
no problem.
What was your overall take?
I guess I'll go. Overall, I liked the whole concept of the movie. Like, I get it, but some of the stuff in it, I kind of have questions, and like some of it didn't make sense, but it did. It kind of didn't. I guess my questions are like, what was the purpose of No Face? What was the purpose of him? Why was he even there from the beginning?
Yeah.
And why was he acting crazy in the bathhouse and he was chilling when he was out of it? And all of a sudden he's well behaved and stuff and gets a job with grandma. And I'm just confused what his whole role was.
Right.
So
and then
answer this. Let me formulate my answer to that question.
No.
As for his whole like purpose, I'm honestly not entirely sure. But I think his behavior can be like linked back to his environment.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you think about like the different places between the bathhouse and the sister's house, like when he's in the bathhouse, he's basically crazy because when you think about it, there's really nothing but like greed and like selfishness in the bathhouse. So he's like taking all that in and just reflecting it. And then when you go towards the end, when he's at the sister's house, like she's all well mannered and nice and stuff like that. So he picks that up. I think his behavior just depends on his surroundings.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. The main character, Chichiro, I think that's how you say it. She even says a line at some point. When they're leaving the bathhouse, she was like, "Oh, I think the bathhouse makes him crazy, so I'm telling him to follow me over here."
Yeah.
So I definitely think it's like a metaphor for people just being in the wrong environment and not acting right.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question. You know how they were saying when after Haku, he came back all beat up as a dragon from stealing that thing from the grandma. What spell? What is the spell they were talking about that was broken or something like that by love? What do they mean by that?
So I guess what's her name?
Shihiro?
No, the sister witch.
Sister witch.
I'm just gonna call her Grammy. So like I guess she put like a spell on the golden seal just to protect it, keep it safe, so no one would try to steal it. And then here it comes Akuza, and I'm gonna steal that. So he steals it, and he gets affected by the curse. And the only way to break the curse is true love, which is which you can find in any fairy tale you pick up. But true love breaks the curse, and She loves him, not like, oh, I want you to be my man type of love, but like that friend type of love. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that pure kind of love. So yes, that's how she broke the curse, and he didn't end up dying from it.
No, I think it was a good movie overall. It was good.
Carl, you said there was like some Bible.
Biblical references.
Yes. Can you dive deeper into that, please?
So one of the in the beginning of the movie um when Shihiro and Haku meet each other, and she was like she was trying to get up but she couldn't get up.
Mhm.
He like, so what they would call it in the church is rebuking something. So he like rebuked like whatever was binding her legs. I forgot what he said, but he said like something along the lines of like that whatever's binding her legs to like release the spell that was like stopping her from getting up. Like I thought that was like kind of like when you like synopsis to like certain things that goes on in like church today. Like you'll see like ministers or whatever go up to people and lay hands and be like,
Mm,
I rebuke whatever spirit is on this person or whatever. There was
right.
there was another reference I wanted to refer to. I just can't recall it.
Mhm.
But besides that,
That's
no,
weird.
it was a great movie. It was I honestly slept on the movie literally for 4 years. Um, when my high school homeroom teacher played that every single year, and I never watched it. Like I would watch like parts of it, but I never really understood what was going on.
Mhm.
But it's now sitting down to really watch it and be like, oh, now everything like started to make sense, and it's like you see where, and that's the thing I like about like Japanese movies, like especially like Japanese anime, like they it's almost as if they do their research before they like create the film or the show, because like there was, you could tell like there was a lot of like symbolism and a lot of thought that was put into the show, I mean into the movie.
Mhm. I agree. Um, Eric, what you think about it?
Um, like overall, I think it was a well done movie. I think I liked how like I said in like the first episode, I liked the action, and then you like slow it down a little bit and then back to the action, because I'm not a big fan of like constant action, action, action. It's just like, how can you, to person to me, like how can you tell a good story if there's just nothing but action? You know what I mean? So I quite enjoyed the scenes where like nothing really happened, mainly because there's just like, good, like good balance between the action and the non-action. And I mean, the scenes were, pretty well done. If you go from, when she first met Haku, and she's freaking out, and then he took her to, told her to go to the boiler room, and go to the boiler room, and then she was the boiler man. He was like, that whole thing happens, and then she finally meets
That woman?
yeah, Bubba,
Yeah.
yeah, which yeah, Bubba,
Mhm.
Baba?
Bubba, yeah, meets her, makes the contract and stuff, and she gets put right to work, and and then the whole, when she gets accustomed to it, she's sleeping, then Haku's like, oh, meet me at the bridge and I'll take you where your parents are. Like that whole sequence I thought was pretty well done. And honestly, like I said, there was like no like action to it, but like where it happened in the movie, I thought it was good. I thought it was good.
Got you.
I just don't think there was any wasted. There was nothing unnecessary put in the movie. It all fit as like a good cohesive thing. So overall, I give it like 10 out of 10.
Damn.
This question's for Carl. Take
Yeah.
it back to the biblical stuff. What did you think about that scene where Yubaba was like, "Oh, there's something coming"? She was like, "I don't know what yet," and then speed it up. They get the little sludge guy, whatever his name is, into the bath, and they clean them all up and stuff, and they get all that, pull all that stuff out of him, and then he comes back as that little old face, and then shoots out as a dragon. You think that has something to do with,
I mean,
like,
I wouldn't say
God,
that part had anything to
spirit.
do with biblical reference. I mean, it has to do with some spiritual, but I just that's actually kind of interesting that you brought up that point. That was actually a very interesting scene. But I wouldn't say it has anything to do with like biblical or like church or anything like that. But I did find that scene pretty interesting though.
May I interject about that? I have some thoughts on that.
Oh, yes,
So,
of course.
like, so originally they thought it was a stink demon, all sludge and whatnot. Come to, the whole like, something's coming, but I can't tell what. And then before you even see it, you can smell it. Which is like, oh man. So I think the spirit, he was originally a water spirit. And then I think all the sludge and all that stuff kind of points to like real life with like pollution to like rivers and waterfronts and all that. Just like it all accumulates and just like monsters trying to just spirits just like, oh snap, I can't be me because I'm just stuck with pollution. So I think that's just a reference towards like humans and how they pollute pretty much everything.
Right. And that's I just want to kind of like piggy off of that. That's interesting you brought that up because like when they detected Chihiro was present in the spirit realm, I think it was Yubaba that said it. She said that humans, they mess up everything. She like mentioned that part. It's like when you kind of think about what you just said, it's like
exactly
with like the pollution of the rivers. And it's so crazy because it's like it shows that like there's a deeper connection with the human realm and the spirit realm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, another thing that I wanna that relates to humans is when her Chihiro and her parents first cross over to the spirit world, and her parents sit down to eat at that that food stall and just like start piling it on and just like stuff in their faces. And then Chihiro, she goes to explore. She comes back and they're like full on pigs. I think that's supposed to like represent like human greed. Human greed and like gluttony.
Yep.
That's what I thought about with No Face. Like he was representing people getting greedy, turning into like monsters or like acting like monsters.
Thing. Like I think so. The whole thing with No Face, I think that all just
because he was just making gold out of his hands and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's
And also all the people.
His deal was all like we said before, all about his surroundings. And if you look at like the spirits in the bathhouse, a lot of them are greedy too. The gold. They were like, oh snap, I want the gold. So I think they also can contribute to represent human greed and gluttony.
So what do you guys think is like the overall message for this movie?
Let me say, Carl, you want to take this one first?
Oh yeah, sure. I don't mind. I didn't actually get it until the end of the movie,
Mhm.
But I think overall it was just trying to like, because remember in like the beginning of the movie when they were driving, Shihiro wasn't like, she wasn't comfortable with the fact that they were moving,
Yep.
and like she would have to start a new life, go to a new school and all this type of stuff. And in the end of it, it's like, from what I got, it was like she needed that push to cross over
Mm.
to the change. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
it's like after all the events that she went through in the spirit realm, she kind of needed that push to cross over to that new life, I guess. I mean, that's just kind of how I viewed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No right or wrong answers here, my friend.
Yeah.
Mike, your answer?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's like a singular point, right? I think we did touch on a few different things. Greed, accepting change, like Carl said. I think one thing that stood out to me that we haven't really dived into yet is when she's at the bathhouse and she has to get a job and she signs this contract. And when she signs this contract, she loses her name, right? She gets this
Mm.
new name, and they even say like, as time goes on, you'll forget your old name. So when I think about that in real life, it's like when we get jobs, are we like losing a piece of ourselves to these jobs? Like for me, personal experience, I got this job working, in an office. First thing I did was buy new clothes. I'm wearing dress shirts, dress pants, shoes, clothes I've never worn before to go to work, right? I look like a completely different person. I talk differently. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm a different person at work. And, there's other decisions that come with, working a job that we make for the job. Like, say your homies hit you up and they're like, yo, let's go out tonight. And you're like, nah, I can't. I got work in the morning. So it's like, are we losing ourselves to a job?
Mm.
So I think that for me, that was like the biggest takeaway, I guess. Yeah.
You cooking with grease, man. You cooking with grease.
I mean, I'm gonna piggyback off that and say, I mean, I pretty much kind of agree. Um, it's all about, you know, growing up and facing the challenges that you gotta face. You know, like her parents are turned into pigs. She had to do what she had to do to save them. And I think, the journey she took toward to like Granny's house, I think that kind of like it kind of showed like how much she like matured and grew. Like because if you went back to the beginning of the movie and told her you go, she has to go here, I don't think she would have done it. So like the journey that she made with No Face, the baby, I just goes to show you how much like throughout the whole movie she matured and she was ready to do whatever she had to do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of character development in that like short amount of time.
Yeah, for sure. To piggy off of what you said, Mike, I
Yep.
was kind of looking at it in the sense of like music. Like, you
Mhm.
know how like you'll hear rumors that like XYZ rapper sold their soul. It's
Right.
like when you think about somebody's name, that's usually like their identity, you know? So it's like when when Yubaba takes her name and shortens it to just Sen, um it was kind of like her losing her identity, like as you mentioned. Also in the same sense, in the music industry, a lot of times when they sell their soul, they got to do what whatever label that they're signed to tells them to do, because that's kind of like their way to pay back the music industry for investing so much money into them.
Right.
And in the same way, you could like compare that to in the movie, you can compare that to how Yubaba was investing in Chihiro, you know what I'm saying, by giving her a job.
Mm-hmm. What you guys think about that train scene? When she hops on the train and she's with Note Face, and she kind of offers a seat next to her.
What do you think the shadow? What do you think the train like symbolized, or like with like the souls on the train and stuff? Whatever.
Right. All of that.
Yeah.
A very good question, actually, because I
Yeah,
wish.
I mean, I honestly don't know. I didn't really, dig too much into the scene
Mhm.
personally.
I don't know. I thought there was like something there because like they focused on it as soon as they got out the
Right.
stuff. Like I hear a train. It must be an amusement park. Let's check it out and stuff like that. And then when she's with I think no, she looked over there over the bridge by herself when she left her parents while they were eating, and then with Lynn, she's seen it again.
Right.
So I don't know. I just thought there was something about it. I don't know. Maybe I was.
I mean, there probably was. I don't know.
So I was trying to like think about that. I was like thinking about that for a while. So the way I look at it is she's on this train and she offers No Face a seat next to her, right? And everybody looks at No Face as a monster except her. And she's like, he's not a monster, he's just misunderstood. And she has no problem like sitting next to him. So my theory, which is a little flawed because it's kind of a Japanese movie, but I was thinking like, racism, white and black. Like, imagine Chihiro was a white person and offering No Face, a black person, a seat next to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of like where my mind went, but I'm not sure if that was the intention because it is a Japanese movie, but
I
it could be.
mean, yeah, I mean, even if it is a Japanese movie, I mean, well, will they really shy away from racism? Because, I mean, when you think about it, racism, it can be subliminally in a lot of movies. But, I mean, if you don't, dig deep into it and, like, really try to, like, flesh out the meaning, no, you can miss it. But, yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that.
Mm.
I feel like you said, like, a lot of people just thought he was a monster, and like, why would you invite a monster that comes in next to you? It just doesn't make sense. And I mean, but she also said he's not a monster. He's just, misunderstood. And like I said, it depends on his environment. Like,
Mm.
if he's in a, crazy ass environment, I think that's like anybody. It's gonna rub off on you, and you're gonna reflect that in your own behavior.
I mean, I was still trying to make sense out of the train scene. I never really came down to a conclusion what it could have possibly meant, but I think it was Kamaji who mentioned it. Was it Kamaji? I think it was Kamaji, but he mentioned that like how it used to be like the train used to go both ways.
Yeah.
Like it used to go in and out of the city. So if she missed her stop, she would have to walk back. And
Mm.
I was just kind of like thinking about that in the sense of like the spirit realm, how the spirits, when they would wander to and fro, in the spirit realm or in purgatory, you know what I'm saying? When they don't cross over. I don't know. I'm just taking a shot in the dark.
Yeah, go for it.
But I never came to a conclusion of what that part could have meant.
Mm.
Because like I noticed that the spirits on the train didn't have faces. Like they were just like
Yeah,
black
they're like,
shadowy figures
mhm.
as compared to the spirits that were in the bathhouse and in that little village. So I haven't really figured it out yet. Oh yeah, I wanted to remember how I said that there were biblical references.
Yeah.
There was so in the ending of the movie when Shihiro is getting ready to cross back into the human world, um, Haku tells her to keep walking through the tunnel, don't look back.
Right.
And it reminded me of a story in the Bible where when the angels told I think his name was Lot. I think his name was Lot, but the angels told him to leave a certain city, and while they were but he said to them, don't look back. And if they look back, that they would turn into a pillar of salt.
Mm.
So it was just like, I guess the supernatural or spiritual connotation with not looking back shows that you long to stay. And what Haku was trying to tell her was, you're human, you belong in the human realm, you can't be here. Don't look back because it shows that you want to stay in the spirit realm.
True. What you guys think about like Haku being like a river that like saved her, you know, at an earlier point?
I thought that was kind of dope. Like it clicked so well because it's like when he said in the beginning, like, I've known you since you were a kid.
Right.
And I was like, whoa. I thought when he said that, I thought he was previously a human that died.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
And so in the end, when she remembers who he is, it just made so much sense that, you know, he was a river. And it's like also with like that river spirit in the beginning, it's like, it makes you think like, how much more other river spirits are there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of similar. Like I feel like everything that was written in this movie was like had a symbol for something. Like
Right.
everything was intentional. Like the way this dude wrote this story is like, no, this had a point. Like you might not know what it is right now, but it might click 5 years from now.
Yeah, later down the road, you'll be like doing something like, oh shit, I remember now. I know what that was for. No. But yeah, I think like there are probably there's a lot of symbolism in the movie. I mean, I feel like I felt like it was kind of like, I don't know, it was like, oh, so was she like destined to like come to the spirit world to save him, or is like it was, you know, by chance, you know, her and her parents just happened to, you know, move to a new place, and you know, it just happened to, you know, stumble upon like the bridge and the tunnel and all that. So I don't know. I was just like, huh.
I think they were meant to meet though, because like when she first went on the bridge and he was like, she caught him like looking at her. He's like, you can't be here, and like I feel like he was looking at her to try and be like, I know who that is, kind of like look. I think they were like meant to meet each other because he went to go pick her up at the at Granny's house, and then all of a sudden they were in the air and she tells him his name. Like, how does she remember his name?
Mm-hmm.
Like out of nowhere, all of a sudden.
Well, she probably like.
I mean, I know they like
sensation of,
flashbacks like mad times
yeah.
where she was sitting in the water, like when she
Right.
was younger. So I kind of get it, but like, how did she know his name? And like, why? Of course, they were meant to be sent together. Like they're meant to meet. Because then at the end, he was like, "You help me remember who I am." He's like, "I'll be okay."
Remember in the just to like go off of what you were saying, remember when they were at Zaniba's house and she had like knit that hair that like what was it, a rubber band or
Yeah.
a hair thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was what was used to help her get her memory back. Because what's her name? Yubaba had placed a spell to kind of make her forget who she was. So the hair thing, because like when I think about Yubaba uh and Zaniba, it's like I kind of look at it like this. Zaniba was like the positive vibe, and whenever there's a positive vibe, there's always some hating ninja, and that's the sister. So
Yeah, I was thinking like some yin and yang thing. Like,
yeah,
Right.
and there's usually a force that's always stronger. So that's why like you see like Yubaba was always jealous, always trying to steal from her sister, and you saw like in the house she was able to undo most of the spells that Yubaba had placed on most of the people there. So it's like with the hairpin, well, not a pin, but the little rubber band, the elastic thing. It was to undo that spell that was causing her to forget who she was.
Right.
And then when she had that like intimate, that scene when she's on top of Haku, and that's like a intimate scene, I guess you could say. That's when everything started like clicking. Like, oh, okay, now I remember who you are.
That's a good point because later, like she has that final test. At first, she couldn't like remember which pigs were her parents, but when she's having that final test, she aces it easily. So it was after seeing Zaniba. So it might be that elastic band that kind of.
Yeah, so that elastic band, when she gives it to her, she said this will protect you. So, because it was made by No Face and the baby, you're her friends. Like, your friends made this. So, it's going to protect you. So, from, whatever spells Yubaba may, put on her, or, if anything else would have happened, the hair elastic would have protected it. Also, that whole scene when Chihiro was on Haku's back, me personally, I would have waited till we landed, tell him his name. Like me, like while I was watching that scene, I'm just like I get it. You like segment like, oh shit, I know your name. Let me tell you. But at the same time, like, you do know you're flying right now. You can't fly. You're human. So you tell him his name, he goes all scaly. You start falling. Like, why would you do that? But I mean, he ends up, being able to fly without his dragon form. So I was like, okay, makes sense. But I was like, at first I was a little worried. I was like, why would you do that? But it all turned out well in the end. It's all good.
So another quick Bible reference. So I don't know if you guys are familiar. There was this one story in the Bible where there was a man that was he was living in a cave and he was possessed with a bunch of demons. And when he encountered Jesus had so technically the demons started speaking out through the man, and they were like, yo, Jesus, don't kill us. Well, you could pretty much say they were saying don't kill us.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, allow us to go inside the pigs. And Jesus had allowed them to go inside the pigs, and then they like killed themselves. And when you're thinking about like, spirited away and the whole connotation with it of them being in the spirit realm, and then the humans became pigs. Like they would turn the humans into pig, like humans that will cross over, they turn them into pigs. I just found that like kind of interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like with the parents, they turn them into pigs. I don't know. I was just really like quick little like reference.
Yeah, I mean, like out of all animals, a pig. Why a
pig,
pig,
right?
right?
I thought it was just because they just started sitting down and chowing down
Yeah, glutton.
without any care, no
Yeah.
worry. Like, okay, you sit down and start grubbing. You want me a pig? I feel like they could have been turned into any other animal, but to fit that precise moment, like they were turned into pigs because that's what they were acting like, straight pigs.
Right.
Yeah, now that I think about it, they did cover, a few of the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
Gluttony with the pig, envy with the two sisters. Gluttony. I was
Wrath.
thinking about one and forgot, but
Good,
yeah,
Yeah. Overall, it's like just there's a lot jam packed into the movie, and like the fact that it was all done well in the 2 hour time frame, it's pretty awesome. You have to like usually animated movies are like an hour and 30 minutes long,
Mhm.
so with this having an extra half hour, like, I think they did pretty good with like the storytelling and everything else that they managed to get into the movie. And I don't think it was like, because like there's those movies where like they have like mad stuff into it, but the directors or writer try to like pack it in there, and then like ends up just being like way too convoluted and makes no
Right.
sense. And it's like, I didn't get that with this movie, which is good. So definitely happy about that.
Yeah, it was definitely well written. Like it told a story and it covered all these different things. Nah, definitely dope as hell. And I was thinking envy, gluttony, and greed as the
Yeah.
7 deadly sins. But yeah,
Yeah.
good suggestion.
Yeah, definitely was a good suggestion. Thank you, Trina.
This is like I don't even know. I've seen that movie a few times. So, I mean, every time I watch it, it's always a good watch. It's like one of those movies you'll never quite get sick of. Like
Right.
regardless if it's an animated movie or not, it's just that good. At least to me.
Movie definitely gets a 10 out of 10. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It was good to have this discussion because like I definitely missed some points. So, now I'm like thinking back to the movie and I'm like, oh yeah, this is clicking now. So yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I had a question, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why do you think Yubaba's weakness was the baby?
Haven't even thought about that.
Because like she seemed so attached to the baby, and they had to when the curse was broken off Haku, he used that as like
Right.
to bribe her. Like, yo, aren't you like you haven't realized you're missing something? She's like, what are you talking about? And then she realizes her baby's gone. And he's like, yeah, we'll bring back your baby, but you gotta do this.
I love how he like made it seem like he looked at me. He had nothing to do with the baby.
That was mad gangster.
Like, bro, you didn't even take the baby. Like, what are you talking about? But he used it. I like that.
Yeah, it was definitely her one soft spot. It seemed.
I'll say that as a mom to a boy, boys and moms, they have like this thing. That's what everybody says. Though boys are mamas, like boys are mamas, boys and stuff like that. But like I don't know, like I kind of agree. Like I have a son, I have a little soft spot for him, but I don't know. Like I guess she just has a soft spot for her baby because he's a boy. Stop. I just think it was like a mama, like a boy and a mom relationship thing. Nothing like extra crazy about it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like that's my baby.
That's her baby. Like, like okay, I'll give you what you want, but just this baby needs to go to sleep because he was probably acting a fool all day, and she needed him to go back to sleep. Yeah, I don't think it's too much.
Yeah, no, that's a good interpretation.
Maybe it's just mothers will do whatever they need to do to protect their kid,
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, whether you're a crazy witch, or somebody else, your kid is your kid. Anything else? All right, that, ladies and gentlemen, is our show. All of us here at this talk would like to thank you for tuning in to tonight's episode. If you enjoy the episode, please make sure to follow us on Twitter at Ninja Talk 3 and follow our Facebook page at Ninja Talk the podcast. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube channel at Ninja Talk the podcast, where we will be posting even more content. Podcast episodes drop every Tuesday on Anchor and Spotify, so make sure you subscribe on either platform to get upload notifications. My name is Eric, and this has been Ninja Talk.